and welcome. You're watching the 7 o'clock news on CNC3. I'm Ria Ramboli.
I'm Ryan Bachu.
I'm Jovan Ravello with Sport.
And I'm Kay Marie Fletcher with your weather.
Let's tell you what's making the news tonight. Homeland Security Minister issues strong warning to criminals following foiled kidnapping of San Juan businesswoman.
4 dead in U.S. military strike in the Caribbean Sea.
TTMA hopes politics doesn't hurt trade as TNT condemns re-election of CARICOM Secretary General.
In sport, after a 9-year absence, Evan Lewis returns to the Red Force in pursuit of a first West Indies 4-day title in 2 decades.
From grey skies to a much fairer night ahead, I'll give you all the details in tonight's weather forecast.
A 73-year-old woman, Tara Palaya, is rescued at sea after being kidnapped from her Don Miguel home.
She was rescued about 6 hours later. 11 suspects have been detained, among them several Venezuelans.
We'll bring you that story in just a bit, including a warning to migrants from the Homeland Security Minister.
Chief Secretary Farley Augustine says the majority of U.S. Marines have left Tobago.
At a media briefing today, Augustine said their departure, along with the military-grade radar, is consistent with the timeline announced by the Prime Minister. U.S. troops arrived in Tobago last November to operate the radar at the A&R Robinson International Airport in Crown Point. The radar was dismantled on March 17th and flown out of Tobago the next day. Augustine said it is interesting that people who were querying the U.S. presence are now questioning their exit.
It is more than confirmed that the radar assets belonging to the United States government and the U.S. Marines who were here, that they, for the most part, have left the island, and those that have not left the island as yet are probably on their way out of the island.
Augustine added that a road near the airport that the Marines were building remains incomplete and the THA would be finishing the project.
Another U.S. military strike in the Caribbean has left 4 suspected narco-traffickers dead. According to Southcom, intelligence confirmed the vessel was being operated by what it called designated terrorist organizations. The command reported that 4 men were killed and no U.S. personnel were harmed. Officials did not disclose the exact location of the strike. The development comes just weeks after the launch of the America's Counter-Cartel Coalition at the Shield of the Americas Summit in Florida. Trinidad and Tobago is among 2 CARICOM nations that have signed on to the initiative. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar also highlighted the operation on her social media platforms by sharing the Southcom statement.
Trinidad and Tobago joins more than 30 countries in condemning Iran's actions in the Strait of Hormuz, warning of serious global consequences.
In a joint statement on March 19th, the coalition accused Iran of attacking unarmed commercial vessels and targeting civilian oil and gas infrastructure in the Gulf. The countries called on Iran to immediately halt the laying of mines, as well as drone and missile attacks, and to comply with United Nations Security Council Resolution 2617. That resolution, adopted earlier this month, condemns Iranian strikes on international shipping and affirms the right of affected states to self-defense. The coalition warned that any disruption to the strait threatens global energy markets and international stability.
Well, still to come in the news, TNT backs Cuba with aid but stands firm on U.S. blockade.
Nurses hit back at NCRHA's claims of high extra time rates, telling them hire more staff.
Jason has watched every World Cup from here, but not today. Because he made all his purchases with Visa and won a trip to the FIFA World Cup 2026. Whoever uses Visa most wins. Pay with Visa.
Can you do this?
Manufacturers Association is tonight expressing hope that political decisions do not hurt trade relations between local businesses and the CARICOM community.
Its Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Mahindra Ramdeen, made the comment following reports that the Prime Minister intends to cut funding to CARICOM. This after she objected to the reappointment of Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett. Ramdeen says the association will not engage in political conflict, but stresses CARICOM remains critical, accounting for an estimated 70 to 80% of TNT's non-energy exports. He adds there is hope for a positive outcome, including potential expansion of the regional bloc. However, Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Kennedy Swartzing, has signaled a different direction.
I actually look at the geopolitics as an opportunity for us to begin to explore different arrangements. At the end of the day, I think the reality continues to be that rather than focus on the things we can't change, focus on the things we can affect. Look for new ways to build up new markets.
However, opposition leader Penelope Beckles has condemned the Prime Minister's approach to CARICOM, reminding it is the second largest market for TNT's goods and services. She also accused the Prime Minister of inviting regional backlash and labelled her position on Dr. Barnett's reappointment as lazy, childish and irresponsible posturing. Regional analyst Peter Wickham agrees, warning the Prime Minister's position, including the threat to withdraw funding, could place TNT in a difficult position.
If Trinidad and Tobago decides it wants to withdraw that support, and indeed if Trinidad and Tobago wants to withdraw altogether from CARICOM, I think that is something that they will do at their own peril. And the access that they enjoy to the economies all across the region that are very easy for them to access because they're essentially just a boat right away or a plane right away, all of that changes overnight. And then she will find it is going to become an extremely challenging environment in which to operate.
Calls and messages to the Prime Minister went unanswered.
Foreign Affairs Minister Sean Sobers said yesterday that government has no issue with Dr. Carla Barnett personally, but is dissatisfied with the election process. In a March 25th letter, it said Trinidad and Tobago was excluded from discussions and deliberations on her second term.
Well, despite pledging humanitarian aid to Cuba, Trinidad and Tobago maintains it will not support calls to end the U.S. blockade, widely blamed for worsening the island's crisis.
On March 21st in Bogota, Trinidad and Tobago joined several countries in distancing itself from a CELAC call to end the U.S. embargo on Cuba. Defending this country's position, Foreign Affairs Minister Sean Sobers says the Prime Minister has already taken a firm stance on Cuba, one that he says he fully supports.
We can't say that we support free and fair democratic elections and whatnot, and then support a system that is not of that or didn't come from that. Essentially, there's been hypocritical, and we're just not going to support or be part of that anymore.
Meanwhile, Minister Sobers says Trinidad and Tobago will send humanitarian aid to Cuba independently and not through CARICOM, citing existing ties with NGOs formed during past relief efforts.
Sobers says this is in no way an objection to how CARICOM is coordinating, but rather using a method that has been tried and tested. The government remains mum on repeated requests for clarity on the future of TNT's involvement in the Cuban Medical Mission program.
It comes as regional counterparts begin stepping away from similar arrangements. Despite attempts by CNC3 News for a comment, neither Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar nor Health Minister Dr. Lakram Bodo has provided any response on the matter. The U.S. has criticized Cuba's overseas medical missions, branding aspects of the program as state-sponsored human trafficking and warning of potential consequences for participating countries. However, this country's position remains unclear. CNC3 News formally submitted a series of questions on whether a policy decision has been made and what considerations are guiding the process. Both Jamaica and Guyana recently announced moves to unwind their long-standing medical cooperation agreements with Cuba.
The National Nurses Association says the North Central Regional Health Authority has only itself to blame for spending more than $9 million in 3 months on pool nurses. Now, pool nurses are brought in to cover staff shortages. They may or may not work directly for the authority, but NCRHA has complained the system is being abused, with some nurses earning an extra $30,000 to $80,000 in just 3 months. Association President Edie Stewart says those costs are high because the ministry simply needs to hire more nurses.
So they can't expect not to have a high pool bill when you don't have the required number of staff to operate the facilities. It goes hand in hand.
He says Mount Hope Hospital is short about 200 nurses, but the Health Ministry has only tried to fill 50 positions so far. The NCRHA insists the widespread lack of accountability in managing the pool system must come to an end.
Returning to tonight's top story, 11 people, including several Venezuelans, are in police custody tonight following a dramatic rescue at sea of 73-year-old Tara Polaya.
The Don Miguel Road resident was rescued during a joint police and defense operation hours after she was kidnapped at her home.
The head of a Hispanic NGO has since apologized to Polaya's family and neighbors on behalf of the Venezuelan community for what has transpired. But the Homeland Security Minister has issued a stern warning. Jensen Levend has this story.
The chilling screams of 75-year-old Tara Polaya left her quiet Don Miguel Road San Juan community afraid after her abduction on Wednesday night. One resident who spoke off camera told CNC3 News that he felt as though it was him who was kidnapped. Neighbors who did not want to speak on camera are calling on the authorities to address what they say is increased criminality in their community.
The problem we have in the community is the Spanish channel, because they get opportunity to come to live, and like they get too accustomed, and they tell themselves, well, they could do anything now. And that is the problem we really having over them. But otherwise, you know, everybody's like one in the community. We don't have no problem.
Another resident says more stringent measures should be implemented to address crime.
So they do more background checks, and they have to dig in more into the background checks. They have to dig into the, you get the documents, check it out, back check it, see how they come, if they do anything across here and they come in this country to thing, check back everything. Go back to the history on them once they get them.
Polaya was grabbed around 7:15 on Wednesday night, and less than 6 hours later, she was rescued in a joint defense force and police operation. Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara praised the officers involved in the rescue, which saw 11 people, including several Venezuelans, arrested.
I want to reassure you that our intelligence and operational units have been actively monitoring cross-border criminal activity. And I want to state that this operation represents a major breakthrough in dismantling an organized criminal network who was hell-bent on carrying out cross-border kidnappings.
In a media release, the police service also thanked the radar system for being instrumental in foiling the kidnapping. The Venezuelan suspect's arrest has led to head of La Casita Hispanic Cultural Center, Adriana Ventura Brown, to apologize to both Polaya's relatives and the community.
We are very, very sorry they are going through this. We really hope the lady can be, you know, can get some better counseling and some to recover from what is happening. We don't want them to say it's Venezuelans like that, because we are not like that. We want them to say criminal elements do this.
Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander says those interested in crime should return to their native country.
We will take every measure necessary, pull out all these stops to protect citizens. So if you come here and you don't want to enjoy what we have here, go home and don't come back.
Meanwhile, Councillor for the Don Miguel Road community, Raquel Ghani, believes the implementation of the Zone of Special Operations could have played a part in stopping the kidnapping and other crimes in the community. She plans to visit the family later, who up to midday was still being questioned by police. President of the San Juan Business Association, Abraham Ali, says the kidnapping during the state of emergency shows the apathy of criminals and calls for strict measures to deter such crimes.
So we are asking and making a plea to the government to seek in the legislative arm and get legislation that will be harsh on all these crimes.
In a media release, Defense Minister Wayne Sturge praised Chief of Defense Staff Commodore Don Polo and the Defense Force for Polaya's rescue. He said the rescue highlights the effectiveness of strengthened coordination between the military and law enforcement agencies, particularly under the current state of emergency. Jensen Lavende, CNC3 News.
Still to come in the news tonight. Students enjoy the post-examination tradition of fast food and companionship after the SEA exam.
Clouds may have dominated the east-west corridor today, but clearer skies are underway. I'll give you the full outlook in tonight's weather forecast. Stick around, weather is after the break.
The FIFA World Cup is coming, and all eyes are on Lamine Yamal.
You like it?
Introducing the new Sun Mix Nut Bar. Available in 3 delicious flavors: granola raisin nut, almond cranberry crunch, and coconut almond crisp. All packed on a rich bed of dark chocolate.
Taste the good life, snack right. Taste the good life anytime. Good life. Sun Mix.
Sunshine Snacks Sun Mix Nut Bar. Taste the good life.
Can you do this?
My man, Andre.
Good night, Anthony.
7 years with the company, and we couldn't do it without Antoine.
Happy birthday, dear Alejandro. Happy birthday to you.
Who's Angelo?
We're like coworkers who don't forget your name.
I'm Angelo.
CG United. Good like that.
This Easter, celebrate more, spend less. Only at Passat's The Food King. Easter celebration of value is here. Stock up and save big on your everyday favorites. Swiss Chinatown noodles, 454 grams, 2 packs for $19. Lucy tuna chunks in oil or water, 3 tins, only $25. Coca-Cola 2 liter, 2 bottles for $20. Fresh harvest season carrots, 4 tins for $20. Creamery ice cream, 2 gallons for $99. Dutch potatoes, 5 pounds, just $10. Lotus soybean oil, 3 liters for $49.99. Sierra chicken franks, 3 packs for $20. Matix peanut butter, 250 grams, 2 for $19.99. Perdix chicken nuggets, 300 grams, $19.99. Country Pride all-purpose flour, 10 kilograms, $59.99. Plus more incredible deals in store this Easter at Passat's The Food King. Offers end April 8th or while stocks last.
Quality value, that's our way. The real Passat's, we're here to stay. The Food King Passat's.
Jason has watched every World Cup from here, but not today. Because he made all his purchases with Visa and won a trip to the FIFA World Cup 2026. Whoever uses Visa most wins. Pay with Visa.
Energy Minister Dr. Ruda Munilal says government is not funding the patriotic refinery study as multiple global investors continue to express interest.
Meanwhile, Minister of Land and Legal Affairs Saddam Hussein says government is close to announcing a decision on the Hilton Hotel as talks continue. Andrea Perez-Sobers has more in tonight's Business Watch.
Energy Minister Dr. Ruda Munilal says government is certainly not paying for the refinery study and indicated he is uncertain whether the funding is coming from patriotic energies or external investors. Munilal notes that government is continuing discussions with 10 interested parties from regions including Asia, Africa, Europe, the United States and the Caribbean, with further meetings expected. Former Energy Minister Caroline Sipasa-Bechan is questioning governance, transparency and oversight surrounding a U.S. $50 million refinery study now linked to patriotic energies and Italian engineering firm Tecnomont Services. She says the undertaking raises critical concerns, including how access to the state-owned refinery is being granted, the absence of publicly disclosed financing, and what she described as a possible duplication of work already completed by a 2025 Refinery Restart Committee.
This underscores a critical concern for me. Significant technical work appears to be proceeding outside of an established, transparent national framework. For such a study to be undertaken, you have to note that access has to be given to the refinery. And this would necessarily require the approval and cooperation of the state, the government, further highlighting the need for clarity on the basis upon which such access will eventually be granted.
Energy expert Anthony Paul says the development could represent an unsolicited proposal, noting such arrangements are not unusual in the energy sector and may not require a formal tender depending on how they are structured. Business Watch was informed the U.S. $50 million exercise is a detailed engineering study designed to develop work plans for the refinery's units, utilities and systems, including inspections, decontamination and identification of critical equipment for a phased restart. Patriotic Energies, in a statement on Thursday, insists the partnership strengthens the technical capacity but says key financial and technical details remain under strict confidentiality. Turning to other business news, Minister of Land and Legal Affairs Saddam Hussein says government is actively deliberating on the future of the Hilton Trinidad Conference Center, noting the property forms part of ETEC, which now falls under his portfolio after being shifted from the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism.
Hilton is just one component of ETEC. ETEC has several components. There's the industrial parks and so on. With respect to that particular matter, the government it's under active deliberation by the government. Hilton is also in discussions with the government. Very soon, both parties will make an announcement on the way forward.
However, Hilton management postponed a planned staff town hall schedule for Thursday at 2:30 p.m., citing a lack of confirmed information and ongoing negotiations. In correspondence to employees, management said discussions with government continue and stressed the need to provide clear, meaningful updates before engaging staff, adding that a new date will be set once more concrete details are available. And now for a look at today's energy and foreign exchange prices. Andrea Perez-Sobers, CNC3 Business Watch.
Well, today we asked, do you think the government should sell the Pointe-a-Pierre refinery to a local or an international bidder?
This is what you had to tell us.
Should really go for the international, because the truth is that you only have about 3, maybe 4 refineries that are profitable in the world, right? Even Exxon, who pull in oil from Guyana, they do it on a ship, they refining the oil on a ship, and that ship staying right there, and other ships coming and plug into that. A refinery is not profitable in this part of the world. It don't make no sense.
I think it should be sold to the efficient person, whoever is efficient. So the person who can efficiently take care of it, that's it. The person who can handle and do the right thing and make sure it's done efficiently, that's the person who it should be sold to.
Can the local afford to run it? That's the question. Who can afford to run it? It should go to them. Because the taxpayer should be paying that bill again, really. So whoever could afford to run it efficiently should get it.
Refineries are a bit old, so they might need foreign input into getting it back up and running.
I find they should sell it to somebody locally, so maybe they can make a profit or something.
Don't get me wrong, but we have more than enough people from the outside that own a lot of businesses. So let me give our local people an opportunity.
Well, it's now time for the weather forecast with Kay Marie, and I have the most exciting thing to tell you all. On my way home last night, I caught a trail of fire through the sky, and I was so excited. Of course, I went through
a plane, a meteor.
I was a meteor. I was so excited.
Yes, and fun fact, that's the second sighting this week alone in the Caribbean region. That's exactly where I want to start tonight's newscast. Now, let's take a look at this. We're taking a look here at footage captured on March the 21st. Now, this was spotted in the Princestown area, and someone spotted something, a bright light shining, and we usually call that shooting stars, but actually it is a meteor. Now, the clouds weren't the only thing moving through our skies last night, as the Trinidad and Tobago Weather Center reported that the meteor's possible location of entry was the south of Trinidad on the north coast of Guyana. As I mentioned, this is the second sighting this week alone, and for those of you who weren't as lucky to witness it in person, we're taking a look, as I mentioned, at March 21st. There it is, going by right there, similar to what Ria would have witnessed last night. Some of us call it shooting stars, but a meteor is essentially a small piece of space rock hitting the atmosphere at incredible speeds. Now, excitement aside, across Trinidad today, clouds filled the skies with reports of some light showers as forecast, but it was still a warm and breezy day as temperatures peaked at 31.6 degrees Celsius in Trinidad and 20.8 degrees Celsius in Tobago. According to the Met Office, tonight is forecast to be mostly fair, where temperatures dropped to 23 degrees Celsius at Piaco and 24 degrees Celsius at Crown Point. Tomorrow, the sun will be back out. It is forecast to be sunny and breezy at times, but those partly cloudy skies would be back as well. If you're lucky enough to head to the seas, well, it is expected to be moderate with waves between 1.5 to 2 meters in open waters and below 1 meter in sheltered areas. As we're taking a look ahead, as Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the weekend is right around the corner. Again, those cloudy skies, it's going to be sunny and breezy with some showers, but you can keep your sunglasses because, as I mentioned, the sun will be there as well.
Oh, great. Fantastic. But yes, that is exactly the meteor. I can't believe it was in Guyana.
Yes, it was.
It looked like it was right over Canoopia.
Yes, it's
I
so
thought
close
about driving to
Trinidad.
go see. I was like, yes, I'll be the first on the scene to get an image of this meteor crashing in the
light.
Yeah, it was so bright.
It's excited.
All right, thank you so much, Kay Marie. What's still to come in the news?
So my holiday would be National Stay at Home and Sleep Day, and in this holiday you have forced to stay at home and sleep.
Well, with 2 long weekends coming up, we took to the streets of Port of Spain to ask if you could add your own holiday to the calendar. What would it be?
Come to Fun Station where dreams take flight. Have a happy fun time from day till night. It's a special place that shines so bright, and we're all kids late with no end in sight. And yes, now we're playing and laughing and free. together with you and all of our friends.
Get a free pair of polarized sunglasses with the purchase of new Gen S Transitions lenses with anti-reflective coating and frames. Selected designer frames now just $4.99 with additional promotions. Hurry, limited time only at Seaview Optical.
It's Jay's exclusive Big Easter Sale. Get 25% off everything store-wide. All departments, no exceptions. 25% off. JD's exclusive Easter Sale. JD's, Princesstown, San Fernando, Rio Claro, Gasparilla Mall, and M6 Plaza Chaguanas. Your low price headquarters, JD's.
This is your chance to save big this Easter because Bright Ideas Big Easter Sale is here. Bigger deals, brighter savings. That's the sound of prices getting slashed on all your home essentials store-wide. Unbeatable specials on glassware, cookware, utensils, and much more. Stock up now. Towels, 4 for just $100. Irons from just $85. Highest quality blackout curtains, 2 for just $99. That's a steal of a deal. Clean bed sheets, 2 for only $100. Huge savings on glassware, cookware, bakeware, and tableware. Post in style this Easter. Hurry in. These Easter deals won't last. Don't miss out. Head to the nearest Bright Ideas store today and save big because Bright Ideas annual Big Easter Sale is here.
Relief tonight for over 18,000 Standard 5 students as the secondary entrance assessment exams is finally over.
For many students, the exam was fairly easy with the exception of 1 or 2 tough questions.
Here's Kevin Felming with this report.
From as early as 7 a.m., parents stood outside school gates across South Trinidad, holding on to their children and their nerves ahead of the secondary entrance assessment. For many, the pressures of the exam never quite fades, no matter how often they experience it. Some paced, others prayed, while a few tried to remain calm as the exam got underway. Beneath it all was a shared understanding that SEA is much a test for parents as it is for students.
Just for the preparation of the day alone and for what the Ministry of Education they usually instill, to me it's a bit nerve-wracking for both parents and child. And I don't think this feeling will ever go away.
By mid-afternoon, that tension gave way to celebration as hundreds descended on South Park Mall. Lines stretched outside restaurants and ice cream shops, crowds pressed forward. For students, it was a release after months of preparation, but conversations quickly turned to how the exam actually went.
It was hard, the math was hard. Number 37, they asked about like points and stuff. I didn't understand it too much.
But while some struggled with sections of the paper, others felt confident walking out of the exam room.
It was very easy, the mathematics, it was surprisingly easy.
For many students, the biggest talking point was an unexpected shift in the creative writing section.
We were most prepared for report writing, but they threw a curveball and they brought short story.
Parents, too, felt the weight of the moment.
I wasn't too anxious and so on because I didn't want that anxiety to transfer onto her. But yeah, it was challenging, it was grueling.
With the exam behind them, attention now turns to the weeks ahead as students await their results and parents are being urged to ease the pressure during that wait.
You could use this time to kind of prepare them for secondary school life. No stress. Alex was a very consistent worker. So, you know, we're just going to be supporting her and really doing anything that she asks us.
And while results are still weeks away, for now, the pressure has eased.
Go to the mall, beach, water park.
For parents and students alike, SEA remains a test of endurance, but moments like these offer a chance to pause. Kevin Felman, CNC3 News.
Meanwhile, Tobago students credit prayers and hard work for preparing them for today's SEA.
Education Secretary Orlando Kerr says there were no incidents reported as 1,005 students wrote this year's exam outside the Signal Hill and Scarborough Methodist primary schools today. There was a mixture of relief and jubilation among the students. Parents waited patiently to greet their children with balloons and treats. While some pupils described the examination as stressful, most walked out confident that they had done their best.
How was the exam today?
The exam was good.
and easy.
Yeah? And how was your preparation for the exam? How did you stay calm ahead of today?
Well, I stay calm by me learning my work and also playing at the same time.
How was the mathematics?
The mathematics was not challenging, it was pretty good.
The Chief Secretary Farley Augustine wished the students well and said the exam is just one step on their educational journey.
Now it's on to what, 4 or 5 months of having great fun?
Yeah, just relax and have fun.
It's now time for sport with Jovan. Jovan, we're hearing things are getting tight in the Premier League season. It's coming to an end.
Yes, that's right. Every point counts, Ryan, as table proppers go at it to secure their Tier 1 status. And the International Olympic Committee has drawn a clear line. Find out who's affected on the other side of this break.
Can you do this?
Plumbing problems? Don't guess. Call Plumbing Solutions at 628-4646. Proud to be serving Trinidad and Tobago for over 20 years. We do it all. Maintenance and repairs, new construction, sewer lines, inspection, drain cleaning, leak detection. We are licensed and insured. So call Plumbing Solutions at 628-4646.
Panadol's new formula, 5 times faster than other paracetamol brands. There's no time to waste during special moments. When I need fast pain relief, I choose Panadol Rapid. With its new formula and exclusive technology, it's 5 times faster than other paracetamol, giving me effective pain relief. And it's also gentle on my stomach. Because my greatest gift is giving them special moments.
Struggling with picky eating? Or unexplained loss of appetite? Or tired of trying to gain weight with no results? Apetamin is here to help. This powerful appetite stimulant encourages healthier eating, supports weight gain, and improves BMI, perfect for both adults and children. Only Apetamin contains lysine, an essential amino acid that boosts appetite, builds muscle, supports growth, and aids calcium absorption. Take control of your appetite and reach your weight gain goals with Apetamin. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Welcome back. It's time for sport. Left-handed opener Evan Lewis is back in the Trinidad and Tobago Red Forces first-class team for the first time since 2017. The Marching Patriots batsman's name was among the 13 revealed today by Chairman of Selectors Rajendra Mangali at the National Cricket Centre in Balmain, Cuba. Ian Wilson was in attendance and brings this report.
Captain Joshua De Silva. So we give him a round of applause for that. Right. Cephas Cooper, Evan Lewis, Amir Django.
Having last played in 2017, Evan Lewis was named in the Red Forces 13-man squad to be led by wicketkeeper batsman Joshua De Silva. However, there was no place for fellow left-handed opener Jeremy Solazano, as Power Gen's Cephas Cooper will partner Lewis at the top in a team with an intimidating top order. Tion Webster and Kamil Puran have also been left out. Coach Riyad Emirates, speaking during the team reveal at the National Cricket Centre in Balmain, Cuba, shared how difficult it was to pick the 13.
It was a bit of a headache. I think it's a good headache to have when you have players on the bench who is just as good as the 13 selected. So we had discussions with the guys who've been left out. They understand, yes, they're hurt, which rightfully they should be. But the pool that we have now, I think we have a very good pool of about 20 players that we can choose replacement at any point in time.
Emirates notes the 3 venues in which the Red Force will play, and the makeup of the players selected can finally do the job of bringing home this country's first 4-day West Indies title in 2 decades.
I think the squad was, they basically picked themselves with the guys performing in the club cricket, and the only probably inclusion, if it was a different venue, might have been another spinner, probably a spinning all around or out and out spinner, but I think we have covered all our tracks.
The Red Force players will have one more round of the TTCB Premiership cricket this weekend and one practice match at the Oval before jetting off to Antigua for the tournament. Ian Wason, CNC3 Sport.
And Cricket West Indies Vice President Azim Basarath is in full support of this year's format of the CWI's 4-day championship. Basarath was responding to questions at the launch of the National Under-17 Cricket Cup at the National Cricket Centre today. Ian Wason was there and brings this report.
The Red Force will play the Leeward Islands at Coolidge starting April 12th, while Guyana play Windward Islands and Jamaica play Barbados. The same teams will play each other again starting April 19th and feature in a third match against each other starting on April 26th. The teams finishing second and third will play in a playoff to see who will play in the final starting May 17th against the table toppers. The first place team will play the West Indies Academy while they await their final opponents. The matchups were decided based on last year's final standings, which saw Guyana finishing top of the table and Windwards in the basement. Cricket West Indies Vice President Azim Basarath doesn't believe the format places Guyana at an advantage.
I don't agree with you that I feel that where you're saying the stronger team playing against the weaker team. The regional 4-day tournament completed nearly 1 year ago, so I don't think that we can judge which is the strongest team now and which is the weakest team.
Basarath reiterated that given the regional body's financial position, the format put forward its best way to afford cricketers opportunity to play the longer version of the sport.
Having started from zero, I agree with the format that was suggested by the Director of Cricket because of the challenges that Cricket West Indies is facing at this time, that this was the only solution to at least allow the cricketers in the Caribbean to play some 4-day cricket.
He noted that the new format will save CWI $2 million in 2026 and is not a permanent arrangement.
This is only a 1-year format. We are hoping that at least our situation will improve for 2027.
The format change follows the omission of the combined campuses and colleges and the West Indies Academy from the championship and the removal of the Rising Stars Under-17 tournament from the calendar. Ian Wason, CNC3 Sport.
And the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board President, who also happens to be Azim Basarath, says the vacuum left by the absence of the Cricket West Indies Rising Stars Under-17 Championship will not define Trinidad and Tobago cricket. Speaking at the launch of the MD Pronto TTCB Under-17 Cup launch at the National Cricket Centre, Basarath said the Under-17 Cup and the Under-17 North-South Classic will serve as a launching pad for TNT's Under-19 team.
The introduction of this Under-17 4-team Cup, made possible through the support of MD Pronto, ensures that our young cricketers remain engaged, competitive and inspired. And we are not stopping there. This initiative will be followed by the Vasha Foods Under-17 North-South Classic, creating a structured pathway of competition that keeps our players active, match-ready, and focused on continuous improvement.
And Dr. Shamir Mohammed, a director, said he reiterated the importance of continued investment in youth cricket.
This partnership with the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board is not simply a sponsorship. It is an investment in discipline, an investment in character, an investment in leadership, and an investment in the future of cricket in Trinidad and Tobago and across the region.
In football, Trinidad and Tobago plays its opening match of the FIFA series against Venezuela in about 10 hours at the Pakator Central Stadium in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Interim head coach Derek King has already expressed his hope that the squad can use the match as an opportunity to build on past gains. Defender Rio Cardines, meanwhile, is ready to add a new experience to his time with the senior men.
This FIFA series is definitely another step for me. I think every camp, every game is just a chance to really establish myself amongst the senior setup and to grow and just gain that much needed experience in men's football. The mood in camp is very positive. Everyone's hungry. There's a real desire in the group to just go out and put in a good performance. We know people are going to be waking up early to watch this game and we appreciate it more than you think. It's important just to get behind the team and really back us through these two games, and you can expect the team to give everything on that pitch.
A reminder that match begins at 6 a.m. TNT time. Now the TTPFL top 3 is locked in, but the battle at the other end of the race is not over. Point Fortin Civic got a needed win over Eagles FC yesterday at the Atherwold Stadium. Caston Cupid has the highlights from a consequential bottom 2 clash.
11th met 12th in a fight for survival in the home of football. The duel between the bottom dwellers began in earnest with Eagles hitting the post from early. Point responded with a brilliant free kick that had their custodian spread eagle at full flight. However, from the resulting corner, Josiah Ochoa's header had the keeper wishing his wingspan was wider as Civic took the 1-0 lead. The Eagles' own ambitions, meanwhile, failed to take off for a lack of accuracy. Point had no such issue, proceeded to take a 2-0 lead into the dressing rooms when Isaiah Jacob blasted home in the bottom corner in first half injury time. Second half action now, and chance after chance, Point and Eagles under pressure with a barrage of attacks and shots. The pressure took a toll. Eagles now down to 10 men. Then 9, as Point also went down to 10, the ref in a no-nonsense mood. After Malik Tate had one of the misses of the season, he quickly made amends, scoring in injury time. 3-0 the final, Point Fortin just 2 points behind Eagles with 1 round to go. The result doesn't change the picture in Tier 1 cellar. Point still at the bottom can leapfrog Eagles and Cali with a final day win against Central FC. Eagles surely will have a tough time as they play title chasers Club Sandu, and Cali battles Prisons, who's looking to secure Caribbean football. So the interest is great at either end of the standings, with a tight title run-in and relegation on the mind in the lower half. Caston Cupid, CNC3 Sport.
Thanks, Caston. Now it's time for some international sporting developments.
The International Olympic Committee has banned transgender women from competing in all-female events, IOC President Christy Coventry said today in a recorded statement.
The scientific evidence is very clear. Male chromosomes give performance advantages in sports that rely on strength, power, or endurance. At the Olympic Games, even the smallest margins can be the difference between victory and defeat. So it's absolutely clear that it would not be fair for biological males to compete in the female category. In addition, in some sports, it would simply not be safe. Every athlete must be treated with dignity and respect.
A media statement from the IOC on Thursday said the ban was not retroactive and does not apply to grassroots and recreational sport programs. In the NBA last night, the Atlanta Hawks defeated the Detroit Pistons 130-129 in overtime. Jalen Johnson was the man with 27 points for the Hawks. The Boston Celtics got a 10-point win over the defending champs, the OKC Thunder, 119-109. Jaylen Brown had the moves on the night with 31 points. Caston Cupid, CNC3 Sport.
Now for Sport High tonight, it's a tit for tat from the NBA.
Gigi Jackson thought he got Victor Wembanyama on a poster after he had a nice crossover slam, but all he did was poke the bear. The 7'4", 22-year-old Frenchman saw Mr. Jackson in the paint, and the rest was history. Yes, what a filthy poster. So Wembanyama, for sharing out memorabilia in the air, you earn tonight's CNC3 Sport High.
A bit of Wemby's revenge there, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Jovan. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
GB's Chai Gold 3-in-1 chai lattes come pre-mixed for an easy instant treat. Simply add 1 sachet to hot water, stir, and enjoy. We maintain that authentic homemade taste you love with no added preservatives, as each sachet includes real tea, creamer, and sugar. Available in a wide range of flavors: elaichi, masala, ginger, French vanilla, lemongrass, saffron, and kadak. And their new delicious caramel flavor, available at supermarkets nationwide. For wholesale information, contact LG Wholesalers.
Only BioStrath gives your body more than 60 of the essential nutrients it needs every day in a product that's 100% natural for stronger immunity, enhanced focus, increased energy and stamina. BioStrath. Get what you need naturally.
History was made at Canterbury Cathedral on Wednesday as Dame Sarah Mullally was officially enthroned as the first female Archbishop of Canterbury. The 63-year-old former cancer nurse took her seat on the 13th century chair of St. Augustine, becoming the spiritual leader of 85 million Anglicans worldwide. The ceremony was attended by a high-profile congregation, including Prince William, Princess Catherine, and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. In her first sermon, Mullally prayed for global peace and addressed the Church's past safeguarding failures. Bishop Philip Mount Stephen has called the installation of a woman to an office older than the Crown a huge change for the institution.
From here, we take another break. Stay with us right here on CNC3.
Struggling with blood sugar swings, high blood pressure, or stiff joints? Take control with Aja Nutrition's powerful wellness trio. Berberine Plus supports healthy blood sugar. Blood pressure support helps keep your pressure in check. And Joint Aid keeps your joints moving so you can stay active every day. Don't wait. Choose Aja Nutrition for trusted, effective solutions. Available at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Feel better, move better, live better with Aja Nutrition.
Dress like you mean business. At The Working Woman, we bring you stylish, professional looks made for the modern woman. From casual to formal workwear, we've got your professional wardrobe covered.
Tragedy struck near the Maloney traffic lights today, where a police officer lost his life while attempting to cross the highway. The incident occurred around 6:30 a.m. when the man came into contact with a vehicle. He died at the scene. A district medical officer later ordered the removal of the body to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex for a post-mortem. The victim has been identified as Police Constable Andre Buchan, who was last assigned to the Piaco police station. The accident caused a major traffic pileup in the area, leaving commuters facing significant delays. Authorities are urging drivers and pedestrians alike to exercise caution along busy intersections.
The head of the North Central Division has launched an investigation into the circumstances that led to a suspected thief being literally wheeled to the St. Joseph police station.
Senior Superintendent Vernley Gift told CNC3 News that he is investigating reports that the victims of the theft were informed that no police vehicles were available to pick up the suspect. CNC3 News understands that the suspect was held at Farm Road, St. Joseph, early this morning after attempting to steal music equipment. Rather than waiting on police, the homeowners hogtied the suspected thief and escorted him along the Eastern Main Road in a wheelbarrow and dropped him off at the station. Officers of the St. Joseph Police Station are continuing investigations.
A workman's compensation claim from one of the victims of the Paria diving tragedy has been halted. Master Renaissance Lochan granted a stay in the case brought by the family of Faisal Kurban after an application from his former employer, Land and Marine Contracting Services. Lochan agreed with LMCS attorney Dinesh Rambali that it would be inappropriate to proceed while families of the deceased divers and survivor Christopher Budram pursue separate negligence claims against Paria and LMCS. He said parallel proceedings could waste time, increase costs, and risk contradictory outcomes. The compensation claims can continue after the negligence cases are decided. LMCS has denied liability, insisting Paria should be held solely responsible for the February 2022 tragedy that claimed 4 lives. Last April, then Prime Minister Stuart Young promised a $1 million ex gratia payment, but it was only delivered in January by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar.
Returning to some SEA coverage now, from the school gates to several spots across North Trinidad, hundreds of SEA students were out celebrating.
Shane Superville and Neil Romain visited several schools in North Trinidad for this report.
Years of preparation and practice tests came to an end for thousands of students today as they put their knowledge to the test for this year's SEA examination. From as early as midday, parents stood outside the school compound eagerly awaiting their children, some bearing gifts and balloons, a sign that the work was over and the celebration has just begun. At the Nelson Street Boys RC School, relatives waited for their children. Just after 2 p.m., students were already lining the streets outside the schools. One student of the Nelson Street Girls RC School Aliana Siratan tells CNC3 News that she is confident in her performance for the exam and looks forward to seeing her results.
And without the help of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, it was difficult, yes, but I answered every single question. And once I get back results, we'll be fine.
One parent, Vanessa Mason, says parents like herself have been a part of the SEA journey alongside their children, but is proud of her son Imani Johnson's effort for the exam.
It was difficult, but thank God we made it. We come to the end, and most important, he did his best, so I am proud of him regardless.
And for young Imani, now that the stress of studying is over, he looks forward to enjoying his downtime.
I'm going to play and enjoy myself down by Silas, by my father and them.
Some thirsty students took the time to enjoy frozen treats outside the school compound, while others, together with their parents, visited Movietown Port of Spain to take advantage of SEA offers and promotions from various brands.
Popeyes was the best. They're moving really fast, but we're moving through. But yeah, it's a nice idea. It's a nice thing for them to get the congratulations and the cool down, because it was a tough time and a hard effort was made for all these children.
For many parents, the end of this exam is a significant milestone in their child's life, one they'll remember for many years to come. And while their journeys are far from over, the youngsters look forward to some rest and relaxation until results are released sometime later this year. Shane Superville, CNC3 News.
Well, the post-SEA cool-down begins now, Ryan.
And it's going to be for a few months. Well,
I mean, they have a nice long weekend to ring it in.
Yeah, and holidays are no stranger for Trinidad and Tobago. From cultural celebrations to religious observances, TNT's holiday calendar is packed. And with another long weekend just around the corner, many are already looking forward to it.
But if you had the power to add just one more, what would it be? We took to the streets of Port of Spain to find out.
Last Friday was Eid. Next Monday is Spiritual Shouter Baptist Liberation Day. And right after that comes Good Friday and Easter Monday. It's no secret that TNT has a lot of holidays, 14 holidays this year, in fact. But what if you could add your very own holiday to the calendar? What would it be? Well, we asked.
I will create a holiday just to exercise.
So my holiday would be National Stay at Home and Sleep Day, and in this holiday you have forced to stay at home and sleep.
International Cyclist Day, where we start at one point, say we start here in Woodford Square, and we just go wherever the wind takes us.
Yeah, I think sleeping is very important for people's psychological well-being. I think in this society where everything is really fast-paced and really upbeat, I think it's kind of good to just take a step back, slow down, and sleep.
It would be family day like what Canada has. And it's just like a day to spend time with your family, your friends. International Free Day.
And what would happen on that holiday?
Everything free.
So if everything is free, what you might buy on that particular day? Well, buy, quote unquote.
Shoes, clothes, jewelry. Yeah, stuff like that.
I would say Women's Rest Day, because they don't get rest when on the period and thing. They be working right through. There's hard that. Yeah, women are pausing and thing. Yeah.
Do you have any women in your life that could benefit from this holiday?
Yeah.
Probably go to the beach. Not Las Vegas though, too much people.
We don't need another holiday.
Love the sleep holiday, the free holiday, the feminist holiday.
No email holiday. I'm going to create a holiday, no email holiday.
I like that one. What about you, Joe?
I think Open Gallery Day to kind of democratize art in Trinidad and Tobago.
I like it.
Interesting. What about you?
Meet your favorite celebrity day, like Chris Brown Day.
Oh, wow.
Only Chris Brown music, all those things.
I'd like to do a gluten-free, sugar-free holiday.
Oh, my gosh.
Nobody would want to stay home for that. Anyways, before we go, our cameras caught up with the 2026 junior soca monarch in Movietown, fresh from his exam.
Yeah. Well, young Kimani gave us an extempore review of his exam experience.
so I put a question for that, but I help me with the examination. I say, boy, you're so trying my best. I make sure I pray without any regrets. But I did what I had to do. Now I start to celebrate me and
You're watching CNC3.